I can just get off at the next light. I can walk from there. No,
Yeah.
I can.
Dokes.
She's 16, attends high school, and appears completely ordinary from the outside. On the inside, though, she is a cold-blooded vigilante. From the very start of the film, we see her silently reminding herself that everything she says and does is part of God's will, lines she repeats to herself over and over throughout the story. She also suffers from a recurring dream, a mysterious man stalking a baby deer, then a flash of her own hands drenched in blood. This violent obsession controls her completely. By day, she is an ordinary student living in a small town with her grandmother, Gigi, a woman who once had a very successful acting career. One afternoon, after her classes end, Claire is at a bus stop waiting for a ride home when two of her friends show up and point to a notice on the board. The bus service is temporarily suspended, which means she has no choice but to make the whole trip on foot. She's about to start walking when a stranger rolls up in a car and asks her for directions. Claire hesitates at first, but the man sweetens the deal by offering her money and pulling out photos of his two daughters to look trustworthy. He offers a ride in exchange for the directions, and Claire decides that seems fair enough, so she gets in. The moment they are moving, she notices how shockingly filthy the car's interior is. Then a phone starts ringing loudly from his pocket, despite him having just told her his phone was completely dead. Worse, he locks all the car doors. Claire's suspicion spikes immediately, and she asks him to pull over. He just keeps driving. That confirmation is all she needs. Without hesitating for a single second, she loops a seatbelt around his neck and chokes him. He loses control of the vehicle, and it crashes in a deserted spot. Claire climbs free from the wreck, carefully removes every trace of her presence, then pulls a knife from her bag and finishes him off. Looking at this scene, the truth becomes obvious. She was never the victim trapped with a predator. He was the one trapped with her. Back home that night, she methodically scrubs blood and evidence from her shoes, clothes, and tools. The calm, practiced nature of the whole routine makes it clear this is far from the first time. Hunting dangerous people is basically her hobby. Inside the house, she finds her friend Juliana, who has been waiting a long time for a study session they had planned together for an upcoming exam. Juliana wants to know where Claire has been. Claire invents a story on the spot, claiming she waited at Goat's Cafe and couldn't send a text because her phone was dead. Since it's late, Juliana stays for dinner and then heads home, but not before dropping a quiet bombshell on her way out. Goat's Cafe was closed today for a private event. Juliana knows she's lying. The moment Claire steps into her bedroom, she feels like she isn't alone. As it turns out, she isn't. She's visited by the ghost of Bob, a mailman she accidentally killed some time ago. Bob's spirit warns her about the car crash, telling her the incident is going to cause her serious trouble tomorrow and that she should be ready for it. Claire barely listens and tells him to leave her alone. The next day at school, her friends Amity and Juliana are talking about a girl named Teresa Holmes, who vanished from campus the previous year. The person responsible, they say, always used the same method, show the target photos of his daughters, ask for directions, and then kidnap them. The girls were never seen again afterward. Claire immediately connects the dots and realizes the man she killed was almost certainly that kidnapper. Shortly after, Detective Timmons arrives at the school to look into the murder. He asks Claire directly where she was between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. the day before. Her mind goes blank. She scrambles internally and feeds him a fabricated story. Timmons clocks her immediately, but without any real evidence, he has no grounds to hold her, so he lets her walk. On the way home, Claire runs into Wade, who happens to be Amity's ex-boyfriend. He offers her a ride and then invites her to a party at his place later that evening. She isn't interested at first, but the ghost Bob manages to talk her into going. When she arrives that night, she runs into their mutual friend Helga, who snaps a few photos of the two of them together. They head inside, and Claire ends up having a genuinely good time. At one point, she and Helga share a close, intimate moment, something Wade notices, and he is visibly bothered by it. A bit later, Claire heads upstairs to use the bathroom. Just then, police show up outside because neighbors called in a noise complaint. Everyone panics, and the party falls apart instantly. Claire ducks into a nearby room to hide from the cops. While she's in there, she bumps into a stack of photos and knocks them over. Picking them up, she freezes. They are pictures of multiple young women who are heavily drugged and completely unconscious. Among them, she recognizes Teresa, her missing classmate from the year before. Claire immediately understands that Wade is connected to the kidnappings. Right then, Wade steps into the room and asks in a suspicious tone what exactly she's doing in there. Claire quickly says she was hiding from the police. He offers her a cigarette, she declines, and she leaves on the excuse of needing to get home. At school the next day, Claire and Amity audition for a school play together. Claire takes the moment to casually ask Amity whether Wade was ever aggressive with her or pushed her into things she didn't want to do while they were together. Instead of answering, Amity gets defensive and throws it back at her, accusing Claire of sneaking off to her ex-boyfriend's party behind her back. Later, Claire sits down at a computer and starts digging. What she finds is disturbing. Over the past several years, a large number of girls have disappeared from campus with absolutely no trace left behind. She goes straight to Juliana and tells her everything. The photos of unconscious girls she saw in Wade's bedroom, the pattern of disappearances. Juliana won't hear any of it. She insists Wade doesn't drink or do drugs, so there's simply no way pictures like that are in his house. She then flips the accusation around, telling Claire the only reason she went to that party was to hook up with Wade. Claire walks away, furious. Both attempts to alert her friends to the danger have failed completely. Later at school, she spots Detective Timmons coming down the hallway. To avoid him entirely, she slips inside the school theater and locks the door. Inside, she runs into the play's director, Mr. Edward, who surprises her by offering her the male lead role, opposite Amity. She accepts immediately. Meanwhile, Timmons is still outside, hammering on the locked theater door. Claire tries to slip out quickly, but he catches her. They end up in the dean's office, where Timmons digs into her again. He reveals that a witness spotted a red-haired girl at the bus stop on the day of the murder. Claire holds firmly to her version of events, insisting she was just at the bus stop and never encountered any suspicious man. Timmons then points out a 3-hour gap in her timeline that she cannot account for. Even so, without solid physical evidence, he can't arrest her, and he sends her off with a sharp warning. At home, Claire spirals. The thought of why photos of unconscious girls were hidden in Wade's house consumes her entirely. She drinks heavily, trying to cope, and as the alcohol takes hold, the obsession only sharpens. Following Bob's advice, she breaks into an abandoned house looking for answers. Inside, she turns up a video camera and photographs of herself and other girls, clearly the same pictures Helga took at the party. That seals it. Wade and Helga are working together on something deeply criminal. The next day after rehearsal, Helga walks over to talk to her. Rather than talking, Claire drives a fist straight into Helga's face and warns her to stay far away. Helga is stunned and tries to get an explanation, but Claire is already gone. On her way home, the worst news arrives. Juliana has disappeared. Claire is wrecked with guilt. She warned her friend repeatedly, and now Juliana is in serious danger because she refused to listen. Back at the house, a different crisis is unfolding. Gigi has been going through Claire's room and has found a bloody knife tucked inside a drawer, the exact weapon used in the killings. When Claire gets home, she finds out that the city has imposed a curfew, cutting off any chance of going to look for Juliana. This triggers a fierce argument with her grandmother. Gigi holds up the knife and demands an explanation. Claire insists she can't tell her the truth. Gigi, terrified and unwilling to lose anyone else, forbids her from leaving. She has already lost her own daughter, she says, and she cannot go through that again. Claire slips out anyway. She goes to a church, drops to her knees in front of a statue of the Virgin Mary, and apologizes for the violence she has carried out, begging for clarity on the right path forward. When she looks up, Juliana's face has replaced Mary's in her vision, weeping and calling out for help. That is all Claire needs to know. That night, she breaks into Helga's house. She demands to know who instructed him to take those photos and why a camera full of party pictures was sitting in an abandoned basement. Helga, rattled, explains that his camera was stolen at the party. He never took those pictures, and he never saw them before. Claire shows him one of the images of the unconscious women. He says he didn't shoot it, but he knows the location in the background. He recognizes it as a house where he once did a modeling shoot, booked through an ad agency. He gives her the address. Claire goes straight there, hoping Juliana is being held inside. She knocks, and a strange man answers. Claire plays the part of a clueless girl who is just looking for her missing friend, asking to use the bathroom as a way through the door. Once she's inside, she requests a glass of water. Knowing it is dangerous, but playing along anyway, she drinks it in one go, and collapses. The man carries her unconscious body to the basement and ties her up. Down in that dark room, she finds Juliana, already imprisoned and bound to a chair. When Claire comes around, she overhears the man on a phone call with a wealthy client named Gibbs. She pieces it together. This man is Randall Morton, the identical twin brother of Joe Morton, the predator she killed in the crash. The two brothers ran a sophisticated human trafficking operation together, kidnapping young women and selling them to rich clients like Gibbs. She also overhears that since Joe's death, a new recruit has joined the group. Randall ends the call by ordering a transport truck to collect the two girls, arriving in exactly 1 hour. While Randall is occupied, Claire finishes working through her restraints and cuts herself free. She grabs a pair of scissors from a nearby table and drives them into the stomach of the guard standing beside her. Then she tears through the rest of the traffickers one by one. By the time the brawl is over, she has a pistol in her hand, but Randall recovers fast enough to press the scissors against unconscious Juliana's throat. Claire can't take the shot without risking her friend's life. Then a police siren sounds from outside. Claire shouts for help. and her relief collapses instantly when the officer walks through the door. It's Detective Timmons. He has been part of the trafficking network the entire time. In the tense standoff that follows, Randall makes an aggressive move. Before he can follow through, Claire shoots him in the shoulder, dropping him. Timmons, seeing the situation flip against him, turns and bolts from the scene. Claire frees Juliana, manages the aftermath, and contacts the press, blowing the lid off the town's trafficking racket entirely. When she finally makes it home, a devastating discovery is waiting. Timmons is already inside, and he has murdered Gigi. He lays out his offer, work alongside him, and they run the operation together. He makes clear he knows she killed Joe Morton, and he knows about the mailman, Bob, too. Claire, shattered and incandescent with rage, tells him he has just taken the only thing she had left to lose. She charges at him with her knife. He dodges it. A brutal fight tears through the house. Timmons eventually gets the upper hand, wraps his hands around her throat, and throws her into the swimming pool. Convinced she is dead, he turns to leave. Then Claire erupts from the water, moves silently up behind him, snaps his neck, and it's over. Life slowly returns to something resembling normal. Juliana comes back to school. Later, while Claire is in the dressing room preparing for the school play, Bob's ghost shows up one final time. Grieving, Claire tells him that Gigi is gone. He says he already knows, and that Gigi is watching from above, proud of her. But Bob has one last thing to say. The darkness on Oak Street isn't finished yet, and she has one remaining job left to do. Before he fades away, he leans in and whispers a code to her. Claire realizes immediately that it's the passcode to Amity's phone. She grabs it, enters the code, and starts digging through the messages. What she finds is horrifying. The new recruit Randall mentioned on that phone call was Amity. Her own friend has been working for the Kingpin Gibbs the whole time. Burning with rage, Claire crosses to the stage props. She takes the fake knife set aside for the play and swaps it out for her real razor-sharp blade. The curtain goes up. Claire walks out into the spotlight, a deep crimson red that settles across her face and illuminates a pair of eyes loaded with cold, focused fury. The message needs no words. She's about to close the final chapter of Oak Street for good, and on that bone-chilling note, the film cuts to black.